I dropped hundreds on gifts for my nephews and nieces, only for their mother to tell me I was embarrassing for not spending more. So I made a decision that would permanently change their lives, and now they're begging me to stop. Growing up, my parents drilled into me that once I made it, I'd be expected to give back. So even as a kid, every dream I had about success came bundled with visions of treating my family to the life they deserved. I pulled extra shifts during school, covered more than half our rent by 16, and still never once heard a genuine thank you from my parents. A part of me always knew something was off, but I craved their approval so badly I let it slide. I'm 28 now, and this past Christmas, for the first time in years, I was actually excited. I finally had enough to buy gifts for everyone. My mom, dad, my sister Beth, her husband Carlos, and their 3 kids. I even bought extras, just in case someone brought an unexpected guest. For once, I let myself believe this is how family was supposed to feel. I showed up at my parents' place with my car loaded like Santa's sleigh, expecting at least a smile. Instead, my mom opened the door and said, "We've decided it's best if you don't join us this year." I laughed at first, thought it was some kind of weird joke. Then I heard Beth's voice from the living room, flat and venomous. "We don't want cheapskates dragging the vibe down. You've been a real downer lately." I just stood there, stunned. My dad hovered in the back, saying nothing. My mom looked mortified. And Beth? She was practically glowing with satisfaction. I ran through a full spectrum of disbelief, anger, shame, but I didn't say a word. I just nodded and turned around, sat in my car surrounded by carefully wrapped gifts no one wanted. A cheapskate? After everything? I started replaying all the times I chipped in for Beth's kids' summer camps, covered bills when Carlos's hours got cut, even fronted part of their down payment when they bought their house. And suddenly I wasn't sad. I was furious. So I got out of the car and walked right back up the front steps. My parents were still whispering by the hallway like they expected me to leave without a word. Beth was sprawled out on the couch, volume blaring on her phone. "What is going on here?" I asked, trying to keep calm. "Why am I suddenly not welcome?" Beth didn't even look up. "We all see it. You're slacking. Even the kids know they've gotten practically nothing from you this year." I clenched my fists. "I've got hundreds of dollars worth of stuff for them sitting in my car right now." Beth rolled her eyes. "Not like you used to. It's actually embarrassing." I turned to my parents, hoping for some backup. My mom just gave me this awkward shrug and said, "Well, you did just get that new SUV. You clearly had money for that." I took a deep breath. It's financed. And even if it wasn't, how does that mean I owe Beth's kids a lifetime of gifts? They're not my responsibility. Beth cut in again, smug as ever. "You make more than Carlos. Family helps each other." I looked over at Carlos, silent as a statue in the corner. "So let me get this straight," I said. "Because I've helped before, I'm now required to keep doing it forever? And if I don't, I'm trash?" Beth shrugged. "If that's how you want to see it." That was it for me. I shook my head, took a step back, and said, "You're right. I don't belong here. Happy holidays." And I left without looking back. The drive home? All I remember is my hands gripping the steering wheel like a vice. I almost started to believe I was the bad guy. Like, seriously, how could I go from being part of every family holiday to suddenly being the pariah, just because I didn't spend enough this year? When I got back to my place, I sat in the driveway for what felt like forever, staring at the mountain of gifts in my back seat, all meticulously wrapped. They made me sick to look at now. The more I sat there, the more it hit me. This wasn't just about one holiday. This had been building for years. Thanksgiving was just the final straw. My sister Lindsay had always leaned on me financially. When she married Mark, they were constantly struggling. Mark couldn't keep a job longer than 6 months, and Lindsay's part-time gig barely kept food on the table. So I stepped in, thinking it was temporary. Covered a few bills here, a few vacations there, even helped with their home deposit when the bank wouldn't budge. But temporary became routine, and I made it easy for her to keep depending on me. Somewhere along the way, I stopped being a brother and became a bank account. That night was my breaking point. I spent the rest of that weekend thinking, really thinking, and I realized the only way to stop the cycle was to end it entirely. No more saving Lindsay and Mark from themselves. No more holiday hauls. No more guilt. Of course, I knew what it meant. Possibly losing the only real connection I had to my niece and nephews. Maybe even my parents too. But I couldn't keep being used like this. So I didn't call, didn't message, didn't send anything for Christmas. And no one reached out to me either. Not a single person. The silence held steady through December and into January. For the first time in years, I spent the holidays alone. And yeah, it was quiet. Empty, even. But it was honest. I kept remembering Lindsay's smirk, that line about cheapskates not being welcome. The way she said it, like I was some nuisance instead of the one who kept their family afloat for a decade. Then, one night in mid-January, Mark texted me out of the blue. He kept it short. "Sorry about what happened. I didn't agree with how things went down. Just wanted you to know." I stared at the message for a while. I guess part of me appreciated that someone in that house saw the wrong in it. But then I remembered how he sat there silently while I was kicked out, and the apology felt late. I wrote back, "Thanks, Mark. But this isn't something I can just forget." He didn't reply after that. Fine by me. Then came early February. I was in the middle of a Zoom meeting when I heard someone pounding on my apartment door. I tried to ignore it at first, but it kept going, louder and more aggressive. When I finally answered, there was Lindsay, standing there with her arms crossed and a face like thunder. "We need to talk," she said, barging in before I could stop her. I folded my arms. "What do you want?" She wasted no time. "You need to quit this act and start helping out again." I blinked at her. Helping out? You mean funding your entire lifestyle? You're the one with money to spare, she snapped. Do you have any idea how hard it's been for us since you started acting like a spoiled brat? The kids don't even have basic stuff. I stared at her, incredulous. Lindsay, you are a grown woman with a husband and 3 kids. You want more money? Get better jobs. It's not my job to fix your life. You always helped before, she shouted. Why are you being so stingy now? Stingy, I echoed. Let's talk about stingy. You lied to mom and dad about me. You told them I was withholding help out of spite. You banned me from Thanksgiving, and now you're standing in my home demanding more money like I owe you? She tried to interrupt, but I cut her off. We're done here. Don't ask me for another penny. And don't contact me again until you're ready to act like an adult. She glared at me like she wanted to throw something, then stormed out without another word. I figured that was it. She'd probably complain to our parents, maybe post some vague, guilt-trippy garbage on Facebook. But I underestimated how far she'd go. 2 days later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I usually let those go to voicemail, but something told me to answer. Hello. Is this David Sanders? A woman's voice asked. Yes. Who is this? My name is Monica Reyes. I'm an attorney. I represent a client who has some concerns about certain financial matters involving your family. Would you be open to discussing it? My heart dropped into my stomach. Financial matters? I can't disclose too much over the phone, she said, very professional. But it involves monetary contributions made to your sister and her family, specifically how those funds have been used. Would you be willing to meet in person? My brain went into overdrive. Did Lindsay take out loans in my name? Was she doing something illegal with the money I'd given them? Or was this just some insane new tactic to guilt me? Who's your client? I asked. There was a pause. I'm afraid I can't reveal that right now. But I can assure you, you're not being sued. This is strictly informational. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet. I needed to know just how deep this went. I couldn't let it go. I kept thinking there had to be more behind Lindsay's sudden meltdown than just entitlement. So when I walked into Monica Reyes' office the next morning, I wasn't sure what to expect. What I didn't expect was the bomb she dropped right away. My client is Mark, she said, sliding a manila folder toward me. Mark, I blinked. As in Lindsay's husband? Why would he need a lawyer? Monica leaned back slightly, her expression unreadable. He believes your sister has been misappropriating the money you've given them over the years. There's evidence that she's been hiding funds from both of you. My stomach dropped. Hiding money? What are you talking about? She opened the folder, bank statements, receipts, screenshots of text threads, and transaction histories laid out in painful detail. Mark recently discovered Lindsay had been moving a portion of the money you sent them into a private account in her name. That account's activity shows purchases that don't line up with the family narrative, designer handbags, spa weekends, boutique hotel charges, things like that. I stared at the pages. My heart felt like it was sinking through the floor. You're saying, when I thought I was helping with their mortgage, their kids' school supplies, I was actually just funding her luxury lifestyle? Monica nodded. Unfortunately, yes. Mark found this out recently. He came to me because he didn't know how to approach you. And with what happened recently, he felt it was time. I couldn't believe it. My own sister had been lying to my face, painting herself as the struggling mom while using my support to treat herself. Is the proof solid? I asked. Monica pushed the folder closer. Take a look for yourself. I flipped through the documents. Consistent transfers from me to their joint account, followed by suspicious withdrawals to an account under Lindsay's name. From there, it was a waterfall of frivolous spending, spa trips, high-end makeup, a weekend getaway booked with someone named Charlotte that Mark hadn't even heard of. She's been playing both of us, I muttered. Monica nodded. Mark told me he suspected something was off for a while, but didn't have access to her private financials until a bank letter arrived at the house. That's when he put it all together. I sat back, still trying to process it. So what's Mark planning to do? At this stage, he's focused on protecting himself and the children. If Lindsay's behavior continues to spiral, he's considering filing for separation. That hit me like a punch to the gut. Mark always seemed like the type to ride out any storm, the passive one. If even he was done. I called him that night. It was awkward at first, but quickly turned into a real conversation. I should have said something earlier, he admitted. I've never been good at standing up to Lindsay, but that's no excuse. Why now? I asked. Why not speak up years ago? There was a long pause. Because the kids are watching, and they deserve better. So do you. After everything you've done for us, you deserve honesty. Thanks, I told him. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry you've had to go through this alone. We talked for almost an hour, and for the first time, it didn't feel like I was just part of a dysfunctional charity program. It felt like connection. A few weeks later, I got a text from him. We're leaving this weekend. I called immediately. Leaving where? He told me he and the kids were moving out, heading to his parents' place in Michigan while Lindsay was out of town, visiting a friend. He'd packed what they needed quietly and had a lawyer ready to file paperwork once they were safe. I just can't pretend anymore, he said. The kids see too much. I don't want them thinking this is normal. What do you need? I asked without hesitation. There was a pause. Help getting set up. Just until I start work at the new job. I hate asking, especially now. Say no more, I interrupted. Tell me what you need. I helped cover the move, some of the initial living costs, and even pitched in for the kids' new school fees. But for the first time in years, it felt like I was helping someone who genuinely needed it, not someone who was just using me. Predictably, when Lindsay came back and found them gone, she went nuclear. She blew up my phone, screaming about betrayal, how I'd poisoned Mark, and ruined her family. I let her vent for a minute before calmly saying, maybe if you spent more time being a mother and less time pretending you're a Kardashian, this wouldn't have happened. Best of luck. Then I hung up. Mark's doing okay now. He's got a steady job, the kids are doing well in their new school, and he finally sounds like someone breathing freely again. Lindsay, from what I hear, is still blaming everyone but herself. Eventually, my parents found out the full truth. They apologized profusely for believing Lindsay's lies and cutting me out of Thanksgiving. I accepted it, but didn't dwell. That bridge isn't fully burned, but it's not being rebuilt either. Some family ties are worth holding on to. Others, you cut loose before they drown you.